In the heart of the western grasslands, where the red earth met the endless green of palm and kola trees, there stood the village of Amadu. It was a place where every birth was celebrated with drums, and every death was carried into the earth with quiet songs. The air was always filled with the smell of roasted yam, wood smoke, and the whisper of history carried by the wind. In that village lived a young woman named Awele. Awele was known for her beauty, skin deep brown like polished mahogany, eyes bright like early morning sunlight after the rain. But beauty, as the elders often said, does not protect the heart from sorrow. Awele had married Okoni, a hunter, tall and strong, with the patience of a lion waiting in tall grass. Their love was whispered of in evening gatherings, a love that seemed blessed. And soon, Awele became pregnant, their hearts full of joy. But life in Amadu had its shadows. Where joy rises, jealousy follows like a snake in the grass. Among those who watched Awele was Onika, a widow with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. Her own child had died years ago, and bitterness had hardened her heart. She hid envy beneath forced smiles and greetings that never reached her eyes. When Awele walked through the village, belly round and glowing with life, Onika would watch her with quiet, burning resentment. For in her mind, why should Awele have happiness when life had taken hers away? The village was alive, yet beneath its songs, a silent storm gathered. When the time came, the women of the village gathered around Awele's hut. The air was thick with sweat, incense, and whispered prayers. For hours she labored, gripping woven mats, teeth clenched, tears streaming down her face. Then, the child cried. A loud, strong cry, like the call of a new dawn. A girl, said Momankiru, the midwife. A beautiful girl. Okoni held his daughter with careful hands, staring at her tiny fingers, her round cheeks, her deep brown eyes that shimmered like she already understood the world. She shall be named Mina, he said. Meaning, the one who holds my heart. The village danced that night. Drums beat like the heartbeat of joy itself. Women sang. Men poured palm wine. Children clapped and laughed. But far from the celebration stood Onika, arms crossed tightly around herself, watching. The drums felt like insult. The laughter like knives. And in her heart, hatred began to take shape. For a few months, everything blossomed. Awele nursed Mina beneath the shade of the udala tree. Okoni hunted, returning home each evening with fresh meat and stories. They looked like a family blessed. But fate does not always respect happiness. One morning, Okoni went into the forest to hunt, and did not return. The village searched. They found only his broken spear near the edge of the riverbank. The elders said it was a leopard. But Onika's eyes gleamed. Because grief had entered Awele's home, and grief makes the heart vulnerable. Awele cried for 30 days. Her milk slowed. Her body weakened. Her spirit dimmed. The once joyful mother became silent, moving like someone whose heart had left her body. And Onika approached. With gentle tone. With soft words. With poison hidden inside comfort. She said things like, "You are alone now. No one will help you. Your child will grow to be a burden. You cannot feed both yourself and her." Awele tried to resist. But grief is a door, and Onika was patient. Day by day, like water wearing down stone, she shaped Awele's thoughts. Until Awele believed the terrible lie. The child is the reason for my suffering. And the village of Amadu had no idea a mother's love was being twisted into something else entirely. Days turned into weeks, and grief tightened its grip around Awele's heart like a tightening rope. Her eyes no longer shone. Her voice cracked when she spoke. Her body was present, but her spirit wandered somewhere far away, where love used to live. And Onika was always nearby. She visited Awele each morning under the guise of friendship, carrying bowls of soup, roasted yam, smoked fish, always just enough to earn trust, never enough to nourish hope. Then, one afternoon, after the sky had poured rain that left the earth steaming, Onika came with words dipped in venom. She sat close, speaking in a slow, coaxing whisper. Awele, your suffering did not begin until that child came. You had peace before her. If you let go of the child, your pain will end. Awele stared at Mina, her small daughter, lying peacefully in her lap, fingers clutching her wrapper. She felt a stab of guilt. But grief is a dangerous fog. It blocks memory, warmth, truth. Where would I take her? Awele asked, her voice trembling like a dying leaf. Onika pointed toward the Azu River, the river the villagers believed was the gateway between the living and the spirit world. Water returns what cannot remain among the living, she murmured. Awele's chest tightened. She felt fear. And yet a terrible illusion formed in her mind, that maybe peace waited on the other side of a terrible choice. That night, Awele barely slept. The cry of the child felt louder. The walls felt tighter. Her heart felt hollow. By morning, her decision, though heavy and unnatural, was made. She wrapped Mina softly in a cloth pattern with red circles and gold thread, a cloth Okoni had given her before he died. And she walked toward the river. Her steps slow. Her eyes empty. Her heart drowning in sorrow. The Azu River flowed wide and deep, shimmering under the morning sun. Villagers believed spirits traveled through it, between this world and the next. Awele stood at the bank, water rushing before her, cold and indifferent. Mina blinked her big brown eyes too innocent to understand sorrow, and smiled. Awele's hands trembled. Her heart pounded. A whisper inside her begged. Stop. This is your child. Your flesh. Your soul. But another voice, Onika's voice, called tighter. Let go. And pain will end. Awele lifted the child. Mina could, tiny fingers brushing her mother's cheek. And that touch, that small, living touch, shattered something inside Awele. Her vision blurred. Her breathing cracked. She cried out, not a soft cry, but a scream torn from the center of her being. Forgive me. The river took the child. The water swallowed innocence. And the wind fell silent, as though even the world held its breath. Awele collapsed to her knees, hands sinking into wet sand, her cries echoing against the trees. She had done it. She had crossed a line no mother should ever cross. The sky grew dark though the sun still shone. Something sacred had been broken. But the river does not keep secrets. Later that afternoon, children gathering water found the small cloth tangled on a rock downstream. They screamed. The village gathered. Voices rose. Panic spread like fire. And Onika, the serpent who poisoned Awele's heart, stepped back, expression unreadable. When they found Awele sitting at the riverbank, still staring at the currents as though waiting to dissolve into them, the elders dragged her before the council of judgment. There was no denial. No lie. No excuses. Awele spoke in a voice that sounded like wind through dead leaves. I was not myself. Grief ate my mind. But my hands still did what they did. The crowd was silent. Some wept. Some shouted curses. Some looked away, unable to bear the weight. And when Awele saw Onika standing among the crowd, face calm, eyes sharp, she understood. Not too late, but too painfully late. You, Awele whispered. You put this darkness in me. But the elders shook their heads. Pain may come from others, they said. But the choice of the hand is always your own. Awele bowed her head. There was no road back. In accordance with tradition, Awele was taken to the forest of silence, where those who had broken the sacred bonds of life were left to walk alone. She did not scream. She did not fight. She only whispered her daughter's name over and over. Mina. 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 The village mourned the child. But they also mourned Awele. For grief had stolen her long before the river took the baby. As for Onika, the elders noticed whispers surrounding her, eyes watching her, mothers pulling children away from her path. Because even if justice did not fall upon her hands, shame did. And shame is a punishment that burns slowly. In Amadu, the story of Awele and baby Mina became a cautionary tale. A tale told beside fires, in moonlit compounds, to young mothers, to widows, to anyone touched by grief. Grief is a river. If you walk into it alone, it may carry you where you never meant to go. When sorrow comes, seek help. Speak. Cry. Lean on others. For a heart in pain is the easiest to mislead. And a mother's love, even when wounded, is still sacred.